We must be able to discern who is telling the truth and who is simply engaging in propaganda. Sometimes there's a gray area and it's difficult to tell. Typical mainstream media is a joke. It's designed to ensure the masses are like children, only being told what they need to know. But if we follow the money, we can dig another layer deeper and start to unravel the entire mess. And I assure you, the deeper you go, the messier it gets. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Today we're going to talk about something different. I happened to see a couple videos and I was enraged and needed to make this video for my subscribers. Today, our topic is hypocrisy, a feigning to be what one is not or to believe what one does not. Behavior that contradicts what one claims to believe or feel. That's the definition out of Merriam-Webster's dictionary, and I thought this would be a good introduction to what I'm about to show you. So there are several videos here. I'm going to give you the synopsis and we'll go through that quickly. I want to tell you what happened, save you the time, and also explain why I think this is important. The first video is an interview with the former CIA director James Woolsey. Now I think it's important because of what he says, particularly at the end of the interview. I took notes in this interview and I wanted to bring those to you to give you the key details. The interviewer said this: "Have we ever tried to meddle in other countries' elections?" His response was, "Oh, probably, but it was for the good of the system." Then she said, "We don't mess around in other people's elections?" And he literally said this. Well, as if it was an unintelligible sentence. She then proceeds to laugh. And his response is, "Only for a very good cause in the interest of democracy." This, my friends, is hypocrisy. The United States fully admits their intentions to meddle in foreign elections. They have done this over and over and over again, and yet we have to hear about this whole Russia story over and over again. I'm sick and tired of it. You know, I've never done a video about this, I don't think, out of the whole few years that we've been hearing about this. And I'm just sick and tired of it at this point. Why can't we get to the bottom of the story? Why can't we talk about the central banks? Why can't we talk about the Federal Reserve and how they steal money from you and I every single day? How they are actually the central bank of central banks, how they loan out money to banks, to institutions all around the world, and we don't have a single say in it. Why don't we get an actual vote where it matters, where the actual data isn't being calculated, isn't being audited, and you and I have to suffer the consequences of it? But instead we have to hear about this goddamn hypocrisy, and that's frustrating to me. You have no idea, and that's all I have to say about that. The second one is this: Confronting Russian President Vladimir Putin, part 1, and there are, I believe, 6 or 7 parts to this, but I'm just showing you the first video in this series. I suggest everybody watch this if they haven't already. Now, I didn't see this video initially when it came out. It was in 2018, and there was some news about it and things, but I didn't watch the video. I figured there's nothing important in it. But I happened to run into it after watching the previous video, and that led me to this. So again, I took notes, wanted to show you those. I mean, unfortunately, this is just an embarrassment, not to NBC News, not to Megyn Kelly, but to the entire institution of the mainstream media and what they do. The mainstream media projects this image as if we're watching a James Bond film, that the Russian bad guys are here to take over, they're a problem, they're evil, they're treacherous, and they're coming to get you. Well, I've checked under my bed, I've checked in my closet, and I don't see any Russians. It's a complete joke from what I've seen. This is just over and over and over again. This story is being told. It's been years. I'm tired of it. This interview here is truly an embarrassment. Look at some of the notes that I took. Megyn Kelly makes the accusation that if Putin claims Americans interfere in Russian elections, then Russia would obviously retaliate. She literally said, "Come on. Come on," like a teenager with absolutely nothing useful to say. That was in the interview. They kept it in there. That's not an argument. That's not intelligent. What was he going to say to that? What was he going to respond to that with? It's ridiculous. She claimed the election interference was for, quote, Creating chaos, that's the goal. How in the world does that create chaos at all? Did you even think about what the purpose of this could have been? Of course not. You're just playing into the role. You're there to talk, to distract, to keep people from learning about the truth, from following the money, and understand who is really in control. In this interview, they also interviewed a few other individuals, one being John Brennan, who you might know. This is a quote. He really does try to shape the internal politics of other countries. It's a joke to see this information when we have confirmation, when we have admission. Look at John Perkins, Confessions of an Economic Hitman. He talked about how many times he personally went into other countries and tried to overthrow the government. And of course, the instances where they actually admittedly have done it. We've had declassified documents, we've had individuals talking about this on every scale, and yet they come out here with nothing but question marks for us. Of course, she pressured Putin, trying to get him to say, look, we need to do more investigations. And Putin said, give us the materials, give us a document, give us a piece of paper, give us something officially through the official channels. Megyn Kelly said, you know what it is. I mean, this is ridiculous. I feel embarrassed even talking about it right now, but I had to at least just put the message out there. One of the other individuals that they interviewed during this, he said this is a state that exists to enrich Vladimir Putin. In what way does this happen? And what information do you have? Do you have any facts at all? Or are you just saying that in order to spread the propaganda? Look, I don't care about Putin. I couldn't care less about the guy. I don't know what he does on his personal time. I don't know what happens in his personal life. I don't know what he does with Russia. All I know is that if he stays where he is, I'm cool. I'm good. I don't need to worry about him. I don't like what happens that is undisclosed in the media behind the curtain going on every single day with the central banks, with the financial institutions, with the conglomerates, with the supranational entities. They are the ones who are really at fault for all the problems that we have, not this supposed election manufacturing and interference. Elections don't mean anything. And then in one of the videos, they said that one of Putin's friends is actually holding and hoarding Putin's money, okay? With absolutely no cause, they accused Putin's friend, a musician, for hiding millions of dollars for Putin. They didn't have any evidence to provide. They didn't even have one simple fact, other than the fact that he is a musician and he has a lot of money. Well, Putin rightfully points to a lot of people in show business in the United States and says, look how many people who are musicians, celebrities, they have all kinds of money. They own real estate. They have stocks, and they're musicians. So what does that even mean? There's no facts. I mean, come on, if you had some facts, that's right, we should do that. We should present them, we should show, and we should try to document all that. But there's no facts, nothing at all. And just a little bit of humor, they pointed to the fact that Putin's riding a horse, he has no shirt on, looking manly, trying to basically suggest that this is all propaganda, making him look strong, and so on. Putin mentions the fact that this is what he likes to do, and how strength doesn't come from banging your fists on the table, and so on. He also mentioned the fact that the media has an image of him riding on top of a bear. He said, I've never ridden on top of a bear, but that image is out there. So I'm gonna end the video there. I simply wanted to get into the fact that there is nothing but hypocrisy that exists today, and it's all meant to confuse you. It's all meant to distract you from the reality of what's actually happening. This has nothing to do with elections. This has to do with money, power, and control. And the deeper you go, as I said in the introduction, the messier it gets. I don't even get into the deepest levels of this on this channel, of course. I simply keep it to the financial. I go down a couple levels, 1, 2, 3 levels maybe, but I don't get into some things. I just don't think it's appropriate in most cases, but you could do your own digging on your own time and you will see what really goes on. It's truly frightening. So that's all for this video. If you found it informative, please give me a thumbs up. When you give me a thumbs up, you're supporting this channel, so I do appreciate that very much. And if you want the financial education that you were not taught in school, these 2 books have everything that you need. You can flip through them over at Amazon. There's a link in the description where you'll be able to flip through each of the pages, see if you're interested in the foundation, the history of the asset classes, making money, tax incentives, and so on. Check that out. And if you want the audiobook version, you can get that at themoneygps.com. Okay, you're still here. I wanted to wait until the absolute fewest people were here to get this information. Now, when I look at geopolitics, for the most part, it's a whole bunch of garbage. I don't believe a single thing. I believe every single activity is contrived and controlled. There is not one thing that we see that wasn't pre-decided, predetermined. The individuals who are in control all of these countries. They manipulate them. They control them not for the last 50 years, not for the last 100 years. They have controlled them since the very beginning. That's how it all happens. If you look at the bloodlines, you will see what is truly behind all of this. They have so much money, so much power, and there is no opportunity to let that go. If you don't understand, if you want to know more, you need to understand the bloodlines, understand where people come from. These individuals, these high-level, powerful people, they are all part of the same families, and then they spread themselves around the world and they control from the inside. Okay, this is so critical to understand because it gives you an insight at what's going on behind the scenes. It's not a coincidence what's happening. Okay, look into it deeper and you will find out the truth. That's all. Take care.